Well, hello there, and good morning. I'm here at school on a Thursday, October 28th, getting ready for class. And last night, while I was sitting at home, I was looking at these lines of code that we wrote yesterday in our add enemy ship function, in particular, this line of code right here. And, it's not so bad right there, but it has a cousin down here that just goes flying off the screen, and it occurred to me that there's some better ways for me to do this. This can be kind of a cryptic. What is Mr. Booth doing here? You know, well, I went home and decided I'd rework this situation, try to clean up these variables a little bit, clean up this code. In fact, optimize it. Move some of that math that's down there in add enemy ships and move enemy ships. Move some of that math up to the top of the program here in our variables and see if I can make my code a little bit cleaner. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a variable called middle width. Middle width, that's the middle of the screen, the middle of the width of the screen. We got our screen width right here. Screen width gets us the total distance across the screen. Middle width is going to get me that point that's like right in the middle of the screen, that point in the middle of the screen. So that's my middle width. So to get that, I'll get screen width here, and I will divide it by 2. You might recognize screen width divided by 2 from those lines of code down there at the bottom. We use that a bunch. And then there's also a variable I'm going to use called middle height. This might be kind of a semi-unfamiliar word to you. Middle height will be the screen height divided by 2. And that's going to get me that. Let's find it in the camera here. It's going to get me that middle area, the middle of the screen. That middle of the screen. Where is that at? Where is that middle of the height at? Going from the top to the bottom. That's the full height. I want to know, where is this the middle height? Where's that area at? And that's going to be right there at screen height divided by 2. Now, this whole word height, I looked it up because I'm curious about things like that. And I got a kick out. It made me laugh. Height, it's a noun, and it's an obsolete variant of height. It's an obsolete spelling of height. And, the definition I like best is alternative form of height. In mathematics, it makes sense. But yeah, they love to use the word obsolete. Mr. Booth's obsolete. That's okay. I don't mind being obsolete. So there are 2 other variables that I want to build here to use down in the bottom of our code. So we're going to go down here to our enemy ship offset, hit a couple of little new lines right here. We've got 3 other variables that I would like to introduce. This one's going to be called enemy ship spawn offset. To make that one, I think I'll just copy this. Control paste, enemy ship spawn. That means that's where we're going to create the thing. We're going to set that to 10. Maybe you already can think in your mind about, where is Mr. Booth going to put that gigantic variable down in the code at the bottom. Then we're going to have var enemy ship minimum y position. So let's see, enemy ship. I'll copy that. That's part of what I want here. Minimum y position. This is going to be the lowest y position that it's going to be possible for my enemy ship to spawn at. Maybe you even see where I'm going with this. And we're going to use max terrain height. There's something that we got our hands on yesterday. Paste that there. And we're going to add to that this thing we just made. Enemy ship spawn offset. Right. So now we got that in there. Cool. Put that in. And then we're going to have another var, which we're going to go ahead and steal this part right here, because there's like only a couple of letters I have to change. This is going to be our max y position. This will be the largest y position we want to spawn. That's going to involve our screen height. We need to get all the way down to the bottom of the screen. Then from that, we're going to subtract off our enemy spawn offset. And we're also going to subtract off our not max terrain height, enemy ship height. There we go. Enemy ship height. It's that right there. So now, these two variables set up, three variables rather set up. Granted, I'm one of them will show up later, but for the moment, it's kind of it's going to be eliminating these blocks right here. I mean we've made some long code down there. This code's still going to be kind of long, but it's not going to have a bunch of math embedded in it now. We're going to boil this down to a couple of simple variables here. Let me copy that one right there. Let me go turn my light back on. The bad robot has turned it off because it doesn't think there's any human in the room. Meanwhile, the human has to go make the robot behave itself. You close. And let's see, we're almost done here. Add enemy ships. Okay, right here, these randomizer lines of code. We get to replace that with something almost as long, enemy ship min position. Then we get to replace all that with something much shorter. And we'll change min to max. I'm going to copy both these right here. Control C. We use this again. Nope. Actually, yeah. No, I'm going to take them one at a time. Control C. Let's see here. This is our minimum position right here. Paste that. And this is our maximum position right here. So paste that. We have a bunch of other stuff to delete. Delete, 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 delete. Back to the terminator. There we go. Get rid of those parentheses. So at the very end here, after enemy ship max Y position, parenthesis, to close this opening parenthesis right here, and the terminator. Now, screen height divided by 2, I can just easily turn that into middle height, H-I-G-H-T-H, middle height. And we don't want to divide it by 2 because it's already taken care of for us. Middle height. Copy that, and then up here I got another middle height. Paste that right there. Now, I've got this cleaned up pretty nice here. These two horribly long lines of code have been simplified greatly. When you read them again, you're looking at a randomizer next int, which basically starts at the enemy ship's minimum Y position and goes to the middle height, the middle of the screen. The other possibility is going from the middle of the height to the enemy ship's Y, maximum Y position. And all this was accomplished by creating some new variables and making some new variables, defining them so that we could simplify, get these mathematical calculations out of our code and move them into a variable. And these other mathematical calculations like this one and this one right here, get them out of our code, put them into just a variable name. Makes it a lot simpler. If we change something like our enemy ship spawn offset, if we want to change that, the variables handle it all for us. It's all built right in. Kind of cool. Now, there are a few other places in our code where we can take advantage of these variables that we have created as we go through our code. So, the ones that I'm talking about here in particular are the middle width and the middle height. So I'm going to copy that one right there. And I'm going to find my first instance of dividing the screen in half. Screen width. There we go. Screen width divided by 2. Now, I got that one highlighted right there. That's the one I want to replace with middle width. And immediately I can see, by pressing my control key, I've got a bunch of these that I can highlight right now. And I can change them all, bam, with a paste. Those are all middle widths. Let's see if we can find some more. Because I know there's some more. Looking for them, just scanning. That's screen width divided by 3, not what we're looking for. There's a screen width divided by 2. Go ahead and highlight that. Hey, look, there's a screen width divided by 2. We're going to be picking up that later on. Now let's see if there's any more that pop up here. It might have been the last one, but since I have that one selected, it's going to reveal any more that might be nested in the code somewhere. And I'm not seeing any more. Nope. All right, so let me go back to that last one that I highlighted so we can watch this. There it is, screen width divided by 2, and I'll paste that, middle width. Now, the other one I want to go grab is the middle height, because there's a few other places in code where I can paste that. And so again, I'm scanning my way down, looking for any screen heights divided by 2. Hey, there's a screen height divided by 2. Are there any more? There's one of them. There's another one right there. Bazingo. Copy that one. So got those 2 copied so far. Let's see if there's any more. Well, I know that there's one more further down because we just looked at it. We just saw it. Screen width divided by 3. And the nice thing is, because I have one of them selected, any more will definitely, they'll show up. They'll be highlighted for us. So we can hold our control key down again and select them. And then we got another one selected. And I'm continuing to look and see. Just be careful not to click anywhere, because once we have that stuff selected, we don't want to lose our selection. It looks to me like I may be done with, yep, I sure am. So there are those three screen height divided by 2s. There's one of them. And there's the other 2. There we go. So I'm going to press Control V and go ahead and paste middle height in all those places. Middle height is now placed there. Now, of course, it would be really good to make sure that in doing all this, we did not break our code, that our code still works just like it did before. And we're looking pretty good. We're flying here. Everything's spawning. I can still collide with the ships. I can still crash into the terrain. We're looking good. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you in the next video where we're going to make those terrains move and give them color.